Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. No, but seriously, obviously I'm not a primo expert on this, as you can see from my podcast Red Thread that I do with Jackson from Moist Critical fame. Go check it out. It's 3 hours. He goes into the depth of it. And who'd have guessed, if you spend your entire life focusing on Queensland's energy grid, you don't really have time to get behind all of the nitty-gritty of this, but I will say I have been down the rabbit hole, and it is deep, and a lot of it's based on Truth Social. But we've got to say, straight off the bat, the breaking news, which is Ghislaine Maxwell is happy to testify in front of Congress. Please do it. I'll be streaming that like Hasbro Gold streamed the fucking Depp case, if that's... like, that would be primo content. She's really confident about herself and her stance on this as well, so it'll be very interesting to see what she has to say about this. Then again, so is everyone, aren't they? I mean, there has been some classic Trump W's over the last couple of weeks about this. Remember this one?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Let's just unpack how insanely confident that is. Only Trump could get away with doing that after his entire campaign was based around releasing the Epstein files. And then now his response is, get over it.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God. Just W after W. Look, quick analogy of this. Trump is running through the entire election saying, if you elect me, we're gonna squeeze this orange, every last pulp. And let me just say, if I was Bill Clinton, I would be very scared of what's inside this orange. That, for months, his entire election campaign, over and over, you can draw up all of the quotes.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah.
When he's finally put to the test, he just goes, are we still talking about this orange? Folks, there are some fantastic fruits out there. The pineapple, very delicious fruit. Also some sad fruits, like the rock melon. In fact, oranges, you want to ask me? I don't even think they exist, folks. And if they do exist, they'd be for losers. Now, obviously, this is a huge contingency of Trump's base because electorally, the Republicans just have to go on riling up internet conspiracies to get elected, yeah? So they have been revving this for years. And so obviously, this is the first thing that's ever bitten the back. I didn't know this. First Truth Social post that Trump has ever posted where he's been ratioed. That's not a good sign. Not for him. I mean, it is a good sign that he also has people that are so sycophantic that they just fill in line immediately, like your Kirks and your Ben Shapiro saying, well, now that the Department of Justice has come out with this, I don't see any reason to not believe it. Now, when I say conspiracy, I'm not using it in the derogatory sense. I'm just saying that nothing is confirmed nor denied yet by design. Which is incredible, because this has to be the most public, botched, blatant cover-up that I think any of us have ever seen. This is going to go down as our generation's JFK assassination, but I think you could get away with that back in the day because it was like 3 guys in grainy footage smoking cigarettes that conveyed information to everybody. But now we've got fucking CoffeeZilla keeping score. It just reeks, doesn't it? Something is obviously being covered up. You do not get the Department of Justice coming out and saying, there's no list. Now, keep in mind, I will be fair to Pam Bondi. Everybody uses that Fox News quote of her saying, it's sitting on my desk now. I honestly think that it is plausible that she was actually just talking about the Epstein case in general. I'll give it that one. What I don't understand is, there is a direct quote of her saying, we have tons of videos to go through. There's heaps and heaps of videos. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Also, Epstein's death. Man. I originally thought the Epstein getting himself thing is purely just a joke meme. But holy hell, all the cameras conveniently weren't working except for the one that isn't pointing at Epstein's cell. There's missing minutes in it because it has been slightly sped up. We were talking about this in the Red Thread podcast. In fact, we are putting out a shortened version on this channel tomorrow, so you can see me learning this in real time. And I think that Dershowitz had some real insights into this. The scourge of Chomsky. He was basically saying, I think that he himself, however, I think that the guards allowed him to kill himself because there's just too many coincidences. What is this none of the cameras working? What is this? His cellmate getting moved? What is this not checking on the cellmates hours before they're not supposed to be checking on the cellmates? There's a lot of things that just coincidentally add up. On top of that, Epstein apparently had a very good chance of getting out on bail, but he decides to kill himself before that. He could have just gone straight to the Philippines and lived his best pedo life. Now, I am a new inductee into this, so tell me where you think I got this wrong, because I'm not just here for slop reasons anymore, I promise you. Just eat the damn orange! What's inside the orange? Is it juice? Probably. Look, here's what I think. Keeping in mind that I have a terrible track record of predicting the future, and the very fact that I say this, what's the bet that there is going to be an article that is released just after we release this video proving me blatantly wrong. However, if I were a betting man, and I am, and I shouldn't be because I'm really bad at it, I would say, I honestly think it's more likely that he is just an intelligence asset of Mossad. I mean, you want to talk about things that go across party lines, it could be the global elite, possibly. But something that we know for sure is Mossad intelligence assets. They would bend over backwards to hide that from coming out. That would be extremely embarrassing to the Israeli government. I think that probably most likely they understood that he liked little girls and they held that over him for his access to this elite world. I mean, come on, you go back to 2007 when he was first tried for sex trafficking, and you have the lawyer Acosta being told to drop the case because he's an intelligence asset. Honestly, to me, that is way more explosive than like, yeah, Bill Clinton is a that sacrifices children. Actually, now that I think about it, that would be pretty fucking explosive. But like, you know, let's just say, more likely, I think that that is probably the case, especially because it follows a pattern. I mean, just YouTube Eric Weinstein's stories on meeting Epstein. He's saying this just like, it's deliberately terrifying. It seems like it's a play when you walk in there. And then he walks in with a countess bouncing on his lap saying, Weinstein, I was just looking at finances, as I would as a high financier guy. Is there cameras around? Yes. It's so obviously a set. Anyway, check out the full episode of Red Thread. We're putting out a trimmed down version tomorrow. Geelong, Canberra, Toowoomba, Brisbane. I am coming to your town with my show about aliens, so make sure that you get tickets to that. And remember, if you want to know what's inside the orange, all you have to do is pretend it isn't there! You mean there's a better way?